We talk a lot about the ups and downs of sports. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. We dissect performances, criticize players, cheer for our teams with incredible passion. That's all part of the game, right? But sometimes something happens that reminds you there's a line. A line that should never be crossed. And what happened to Houston Astros pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. this past weekend crosses that line in the most horrific way imaginable. Lance McCullers Jr. had a bad day at the office on Saturday. Let's be clear about that. It was a rough outing against the Cincinnati Reds. He faced 8 batters, recorded just 1 out, and gave up 7 earned runs. It was part of a brutal 10-run first inning for the Reds, and the Astros ultimately lost the game. As an athlete, he knows bad games happen. He knows he didn't perform well. That's the part of the job. But nothing, absolutely nothing, justifies what he says happened next. In a post-game press conference that was incredibly emotional, McCullers Jr. revealed the disturbing reality of what came after that difficult start. He told reporters, his voice heavy with feeling, that he had received death threats on social media. And these weren't just threats aimed at him, the player who had a bad game. These threats, he said, were specifically aimed at his 2 young children. Let's listen to what Lance himself said, because his words carry the weight of a father reacting to something truly vile. It's been a tough evening. I understand people are very passionate and people love the Astros and love sports. But threatening to find my kids and murder them is a little bit tough to deal with. He continued, his voice firming slightly as he spoke about the history of such threats, but emphasizing the difference here. So, just as a father, I think there have been many threats over the years aimed at me mostly. And I think actually 1 or 2 people from other issues around baseball actually had to go to jail for things like that. But I think bringing kids into the equation, threatening to find them or next time they see us in public, they're gonna stab my kids to death. Things like that. It's tough to hear as a dad. Just, wow. Take a moment to process that. A grown man, a professional athlete, having to stand there after a difficult game and talk about threats to stab his children to death because of his performance on a baseball field. It's absolutely sickening. It strips away all the context of the game, of wins and losses, and brings you face to face with a level of toxic, hateful behavior that has no place anywhere, least of all directed at innocent children. McCullers is right to mention that people have faced legal consequences for this kind of behavior. He references cases where individuals went to jail. There was a notable instance involving a betting influencer who was sentenced to home detention for similar threats against players and their families on the Tampa Bay Rays. While that case involved gambling, McCullers' comments about people loving the Astros suggest these threats may have come from individuals claiming to be fans of his own team. This adds another layer of disturbing complexity. Someone who supposedly loves the team, who is passionate about the Astros, would turn around and threaten the lives of a player's children because of a bad inning? It's completely irrational and depraved. And it's particularly cruel given Lance McCullers Jr.'s history with the Astros. He's the second longest tenured player on the team, behind only Jose Altuve. He was a key part of their World Series winning rotations in both 2017 and 2022. Yes, the 2017 title is controversial, but McCullers' performance that postseason, particularly his starts against the Dodgers, solidified his place in Astros history. He's poured his heart and soul into this team for years. He's also faced his share of adversity. McCullers has battled significant arm injuries that cost him the entire 2023 and 2024 seasons up until recently. Saturday's start was only his second since returning from missing 915 days. His first start back last Sunday was solid 3 2/3 scoreless innings. Saturday was a setback on the mound, but it was just one game, one inning, as he works his way back from major injury. Astros manager Joe Espada also spoke about the situation, his voice filled with frustration and sadness. He specifically highlighted McCullers' dedication to the team and the city while condemning the threats. "I just left my office. And it's very unfortunate that Lance McCullers, that there are people who are threatening his life and the life of his kids because of his performance." Espada continued, speaking as a father himself. "It's very unfortunate that we have to deal with this. After all he's done for this city, this team, the fact that we have to talk about that in my office. I got kids, too. It really drives me nuts. It's very sad. Very, very sad. It really drives me nuts. A simple phrase, but coming from a manager. It conveys just how deeply unsettling and wrong this is. This isn't just about baseball anymore. This is about basic human decency. Sports can evoke intense emotions. We invest ourselves in our teams and our players. But there has to be a boundary. Criticizing performance? Fine. Being frustrated? Understandable. But sending death threats, especially targeting someone's family, someone's children? That is not fandom. That is criminal behavior. It's cowardly. It's disgusting. And it's a stark reminder of the dark corners of online anonymity. For Lance McCullers Jr., a bad game on Saturday was followed by the nightmare of knowing there are people out there wishing harm on his children because he didn't pitch well. That's a burden no athlete, no parent, should ever have to carry. Manager Espada confirmed McCullers is expected to make his next start, assuming he feels physically okay, which shows faith in the player. But the emotional toll of this kind of incident can be immense. This story is a wake-up call. It's a call for perspective, for empathy, and for a collective stand against this kind of toxic behavior in sports fandom and online. Players are human beings. They have families. They make mistakes on the field. That's part of life, and part of the game. Threatening children because of it is beyond the pale. It's a level of depravity that should sicken every single one of us. Let's hope the authorities take these threats seriously, and that whoever is responsible is held accountable. Because no game, no performance, no win or loss, is worth a single threat against a child. In a stark reminder of the disturbing online abuse faced by athletes. Houston Astros pitcher Lance McCullers Jr. revealed that he and his family received horrifying death threats aimed specifically at his children following his rough start on Saturday night. McCullers had a difficult outing against the Cincinnati Reds, allowing 7 earned runs and recording just 1 out before being removed from the game, which the Astros ultimately lost 13-9. However, the emotional toll of the performance was compounded by the messages he received afterward. Speaking to reporters in a raw and emotional post-game press conference, McCullers stated, quote, "I understand people are very passionate and people love the Astros and love sports. But threatening to find my kids and murder them is a little bit tough to deal with." He went on to describe the sickening nature of the threats, including messages threatening to, quote, "stab my kids to death next time they were seen in public," calling it, quote, "tough to hear as a dad." McCullers, one of the longest tenured players on the Astros and a part of their World Series winning teams, noted that while he has received threats aimed at himself over the years, bringing his children into it is unacceptable. He also referenced instances where individuals making similar threats in baseball have faced legal consequences. Astros manager Joe Espada was visibly upset when addressing the situation, calling it, quote, "very unfortunate that we had to deal with this." Espada expressed his frustration and sadness, stating, quote, "I got kids, too. It really drives me nuts. It's very sad. Very, very sad." He also defended McCullers, acknowledging his contributions to the team and city, and noted the pitcher is still working his way back from significant injury absences in 2023 and 2024. The incident serves as a grim reminder of the level of harassment athletes and their families can face online, where poor performance on the field can tragically spill over into real-world threats against their loved ones.